describe the way I felt back then, I guess there's also another saying that you can't miss what you don't know, and that's not true. I was missing something I had never known, but I knew it was out there. And then finally, it did come along. PEG came along. Starting in the summer, after the 7th grade, I always attended the summer enrichment programs, first through Duke, via the Talent Identification Program, and then later through Eastern Carolina University as part of their Cullowhee experience. And while I was there, I had a friend, her name is Nancy, and I hope she doesn't mind that I'm telling you her name. She told us that summer that she was quitting school, and she was just going to go to college, just like that. I had gotten the brochures in the mail, much as all of you did, and while the opportunity seemed exciting and intriguing, it also seemed like something that happened to other people, not something that happened to me. So it was like a fantasy. The same kind of fantasies I had about going on safari, or learning to speak Spanish fluently, or running a half marathon, seeing the world. Exotic, intriguing, and again, things that happen to other people. And so having her tell us that she was going to do that suddenly made it seem so much more real. I mean, this was Nancy. I'd known this girl for years. If she could do it, so could I. So that I thought she was probably about the bravest person I had ever met at that point. Because here she was, going hundreds of miles away from everything she'd ever known, everyone she'd ever loved, and doing something completely unexpected. So her going to PEG, like I said, it made it seem possible. So that whole year, that fall, she went to college, and I started the 9th grade. And that whole year I thought about her, and I wondered what it was like, how it was going. So the very next summer, I couldn't wait to get back to the program, and I was hoping she would come again. And she did. And I asked her, I said, what was it like? And Nancy did not disappoint. She was thriving, and she'd always been this very shy, quiet, uncertain person. And she was a different person that summer. She was confident, she was assertive, she was strong, and she loved it. She loved her classes, she loved her friends, she loved everything about the experience. And that was it. I was sold. I was hooked. So I applied. I applied as soon as I could, and I remember interviewing. That was the summer before. I was supposed to drive up to Cullowhee for another summer enrichment experience, and I interviewed at PEG, and then I went on to the program. And while I was there, I actually got the acceptance call, saying that I had been accepted to PEG. And all of a sudden, I was in a panic. I was hundreds of miles away from home, hundreds of miles away from my mom, scared to death, and suddenly expected to make this decision that was going to change the rest of my life. How was I supposed to do that? I never even bought clothes at the mall by myself. So the staff at the enrichment program, they were incredibly supportive, and they gave me this office, one of their offices. They evacuated it and called my mom and put them and my dad, who was at work, put everybody on speakerphone so I could talk to my parents. And ironically, it was my mom who helped me to make the decision. And looking back now, I can't imagine how hard that was for her to let your daughter go. I was 15 at the time. To encourage her to leave home, to go to someplace so strange and so foreign, away from everything that you think is safe and familiar. And knowing all the while that whether I succeeded or failed, that nothing would ever be the same. To still encourage me to take that risk. Looking back now, I think she's actually probably the bravest person I've ever met. And so I called, and I talked to them on the phone, all panicked and scared, and had no idea what to do. And I told her, I was like, what if I can't do this? You know, it's 4 years. What if I fail? What if I hate it? What if I want to come home? This is going to cost us so much money. We can't afford this. And I'll never forget what my mom told me. And I have to do this in her accent, or it's just not the same. Now, baby girl, you can always come home. Don't make a mountain that'll crush you under its own weight. All you got to commit to right now is 1 year. And she said, if you can give it 1 year of everything you have, no matter how hard it is or how scary, then whatever you decide the year after that, I will always support you. And And that's what she asked me. And suddenly it seemed so much more doable. 1 year, I could do that. I mean, I'd already survived 2 years of high school misery. It's easy. And so I guess you guys can guess the answer. I came to PEG, and at the end of that year, it wasn't even a discussion of if there would be another year and another. I was suddenly doing things that little girls from small towns don't do. I had gone whitewater rafting and mountain climbing and hiking, and I was studying crawdads and streams. Thanks, Dr. Jones, by the way. I still think I have mud between my toes from that. But I was doing these amazing, amazing things, and PEG taught me to do a lot of that, because just like my friend Nancy, I started school, you learn to shut yourself down just a little bit when you're a public school kid. Socially, I did very well, but only because I knew how to play the game. You don't talk about certain things, you don't ask too intelligent of questions. There are just things in public school classrooms you don't do, not if you want to do well socially. And I came to PEG, and suddenly, I could ask anything. I could study everything I'd ever wanted. And parents always ask, and I think somebody even asked it this morning, you're going to miss a lot of the regular experiences of being a teenager. How is that? I don't think I missed anything worth having. Nothing. I gained so much more. I gained an understanding of who I was that I still see people my age now at 30 trying to figure out. And I got to learn that when I was 16, 17, and 18. And I've been able to hold on to that sense of self for my entire career since then. And it's been able to build for me opportunities that would otherwise never have existed. And I'm proud to say that as a physician in New York, I've gotten to travel the world. And I get to speak Spanish fluently now. And I've gotten to run that half marathon. All those things that I mentioned earlier, I do. I get to travel and work in countries that most people don't know exist. I get to be a voice for people who have none. And I get to offer medical care to children who are forgotten. And those are things that very, very few people are blessed to do. And I think that PEG is the main reason why I'm able to do those things now. So I wanted to thank all of you for coming and for hearing me. I talked a little faster than intended, so this is shorter than was expected. But thank you all for listening. Thank you all so much for coming and for listening.